They always called her the lucky one. My sister Clarissa was the golden girl. Blonde, loud, always the center of attention. She married her college sweetheart Jeremy, right out of business school. And for years, I couldn't attend a family gathering without hearing about how brilliant he was, how successful, how charming, and how I should take notes. Yeah. Because according to Clarissa, my single status and quiet job in corporate strategy made me some sort of background character in her flawless life story. I mean, Deborah, she said once over brunch, sipping an overpriced mimosa, you're smart. You just lack direction. Jeremy says maybe you're scared of ambition. That was her favorite trick. Using him to insult me. Jeremy this. Jeremy that. Jeremy thinks I'm brilliant. Jeremy got another raise. Jeremy says you should smile more. Spoiler, Jeremy was not brilliant. He was average with a great jawline and a fragile ego, but no one in our family cared. All they saw was the fancy car, the custom suits, and the Instagram-worthy vacations. Meanwhile, I kept things to myself. Quiet promotions. High-profile strategy projects. A few investments that paid off. Because while Jeremy was loud, I was smart. And I was patient. I wasn't the one posting my life online like it was a Vogue spread. I was too busy building something real. Still, I let Clarissa have her spotlight. Let her believe she married a king. Until the day her king wandered into my kingdom. It started at a quarterly networking event hosted by my firm. Nothing fancy. Just high-level executives from major clients and internal leaders. I almost didn't go. But my boss asked me to meet someone new. Someone from a partner company who had just joined their leadership team. Guess who walked through the door, overly confident and 2 martinis in? Jeremy. I had to do a double take. There he was, holding a whiskey glass like it was a trophy, laughing too loudly, name-dropping the CFOs he worked with directly. And when our eyes met, he froze. I smiled. Not because I was happy to see him. Because I was the one in charge of evaluating his company's performance. And it had not been good. After the event, I dug in. Not out of spite. Out of curiosity. Jeremy worked for a logistics software company we partnered with. My division had flagged them months ago for under-delivering, inflating data, and get this, questionable ethics around client reports. Guess whose signature was on most of those reports? Yep. Golden boy Jeremy. I didn't say anything right away. I wanted to see how far he'd go. Turns out pretty far. A week later, I got an invite to a family dinner. Clarissa was throwing a casual get-together, which usually meant champagne, white linen, and 5 separate speeches about how lucky she was. I wasn't going to go, but something told me I should. And I was right. Clarissa greeted me at the door wearing a designer dress and that smug look she reserves just for me. You made it, she said. Jeremy's dying to tell you about his promotion. I almost laughed. We sat down for dinner, and within 5 minutes, he was holding court at the head of the table, talking about streamlining systems and executive restructuring. He didn't even glance at me. Until I asked casually, so when are those Q2 numbers coming in? I heard the reporting team's been having some trouble with inconsistencies. He blinked. Clarissa's smile faltered. I took a slow sip of wine and locked eyes with him. He knew. I knew. And Clarissa? She had no idea. Not yet. I wasn't going to ruin the evening. I'm not cruel. I'm calculated. Besides, revenge is best served after dessert. That night, I went home and pulled every file I had on Jeremy's division. Emails, reports, invoices. I had receipts. All I needed was the right moment to use them. And believe me, it came faster than I expected. Because Jeremy wasn't just incompetent. He was reckless. And he had no idea the woman he mocked over brunch was about to become his worst nightmare. After that dinner, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Jeremy sitting there like he ran the world, smirking at me from across the table like he knew something I didn't. Clarissa beaming like she was married to royalty. And me? I was just the boring little sister with a quiet job and no husband. At least, that's what they thought. The very next morning, I called a meeting. Not with Jeremy. With my internal audit team. I want a full compliance sweep on our logistics partner, I said, sipping my coffee. Every deal, every invoice, every strategic adjustment Jeremy signed off on. Go back 2 years. They knew better than to ask why. My tone didn't leave room for questions. And what they found? It was almost disappointing how easy it was. Overinflated delivery times to boost performance stats. Fake client feedback forms with recycled wording. Internal memos where Jeremy literally told a junior analyst to massage the data so it looks good. Massage the data. He put it in writing. I sent the entire packet to my legal team and flagged it for escalation to the board. Still, I kept quiet, because I wanted to see just how long Jeremy could fake it. Clarissa, of course, was still playing the role of the proud wife on every social platform possible. Her latest post? A photo of Jeremy shaking hands with some VP at a tech conference with the caption, "Proud of my brilliant man. He just keeps rising." I almost felt bad. Almost. That same week, our companies had a joint meeting scheduled. It was supposed to be a routine quarterly check-in. But this time, I asked to lead it. Jeremy walked into the room all confidence and cologne, clearly thinking it was just another day of pretending to be someone important. He didn't expect to see me at the head of the table. "Deborah," he asked, half laughing like it was a joke. "You're running this?" I looked him dead in the eye. "Yes, I'm running this." The room fell silent. I started with the basics. Performance metrics. Missed targets. Sloppy documentation. Then I dropped the report folder on the table. Thick. Tabbed. Highlighted. "This is a full audit of your department's performance over the last 24 months, I said. "There are several issues." He opened the folder. His face turned gray. The best part? My boss was sitting right next to me. Watching. Listening. Nodding. Jeremy tried to talk. Tried to deflect. Blamed analysts. Blamed turnover. Even blamed market instability. I didn't let him finish. "We expect our partners to operate with integrity," I said. "That includes accurate reporting, ethical data handling, and honest communication." Then I closed my notebook. "We'll be terminating the contract effective immediately. Legal will send details by end of day." Jeremy didn't say a word. He just sat there, drowning in the silence he couldn't control. After the meeting, I walked past him without a glance. But before I reached the door, I turned and said quietly, "You should tell Clarissa before she finds out from LinkedIn." That was me being generous. He didn't deserve it. That evening, I poured myself a glass of wine and waited, because I knew Clarissa was going to call. She always did when something didn't go her way. And right on cue, my phone lit up around 9 p.m. Her name flashing on the screen like a warning. I picked up and said nothing. "Deborah," she snapped. "What did you do?" "What I always do," I replied. "Clean up after people who don't know how to do their jobs." "You humiliated him." "No, Clarissa. He humiliated himself." I just opened the curtain. She started crying. Not sobbing. That tight, angry cry that happens when someone's pride starts to crack. "You ruined everything." I smiled. "No, sis. I saved the company millions." Click. She hung up. I stared at the screen for a second, then shrugged. One less arrogant man in a position he didn't earn. One step closer to peace. But I wasn't done yet. Because Clarissa still thought she was untouchable. And she was about to learn what it feels like to have your whole world flipped by the sister you always underestimated. Clarissa went silent after that call, which, for her, was unheard of. No cryptic Instagram quotes. No dramatic text messages. No surprise visits demanding sisterly support. Nothing. I'll admit, for a moment, I thought she might be maturing. But no. She was just regrouping. Because 3 days later, I got the wedding invitation. It was for some distant cousin's overpriced vineyard ceremony. The kind of event where everyone pretends to care about the bride, but really they just want to show off their outfits and fake careers. And right at the top of the guest list, Mr. and Mrs. Jeremy Whitman. So that's how she wanted to play it. Fine. I RSVP'd yes. And I planned everything down to the last detail. I wasn't going there to stir the pot. I was going to bring the whole stove. The morning of the wedding, I arrived alone. Hair slick. Tailored black dress. Simple gold earrings. The kind of outfit that whispered power without screaming for it. Clarissa saw me the second I stepped onto the lawn. She looked flawless, of course. Makeup like a magazine cover. That fake smile she practiced in every mirror since high school. "Deborah," she said, her voice too sweet. "You came. I wouldn't miss it." "Jeremy's around here somewhere," she said, scanning the crowd too quickly. "He's just networking." Networking. Interesting choice of words for a man who hadn't updated his LinkedIn in a week. But I didn't say anything. I just smiled. And waited. Halfway through the reception I saw him. Jeremy. Standing stiffly at the bar. Wearing a suit that looked one size too small and a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. He wasn't talking to anyone. Which made sense. Word travels fast in our industry. And Jeremy's name was now connected with, let's just say, non-compliance concerns. But Clarissa didn't get the memo. Because when the music started, she dragged him onto the dance floor like she was still living in the fantasy she built. Twirling. Laughing too loudly. Making sure every camera caught their perfect moment. And that's when I made my move. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just, effectively. I walked up to Aunt Marla, who was filming the dance on her iPad like it was a press conference. "Make sure you tag me when you post that," I said casually. She blinked. "Why, dear?" "Well," I said with a little shrug, "it's the last time you'll see Jeremy dressed up for something. Word is he's been blacklisted. Most firms won't even take a meeting." I didn't say more. Didn't need to. 5 minutes later, the gossip was wildfire. By dessert, I heard someone whisper, "I thought Clarissa married a rising star." "No," someone else said. "He was fired." By her sister. Clarissa's smile started to fade. By the time the DJ announced the bouquet toss, she was gripping Jeremy's arm like it was a lifeline. And then, because life has a sense of humor, someone tapped me on the shoulder. It was one of the investors from a firm I'd worked with. A man Clarissa used to flirt with at every wedding she could. "Deborah," he said, beaming, "I had no idea you were that Deborah. We've been quoting your Q3 report in our board meetings. Genius work." I smiled and nodded. Clarissa froze. Jeremy paled. And just like that, the illusion shattered. They couldn't hide behind the title, the car, or the filters anymore. Everyone saw the truth. Jeremy wasn't brilliant. Clarissa wasn't the lucky one. And I was the one they never saw coming. That night, I left the party early. Walked past them as they stood in the corner, trying to piece together what was left of their image. Clarissa looked at me, eyes full of panic. She didn't say anything. Because she didn't have to. She knew. The sister she mocked. The one she dismissed. The one who lacked direction. Had just destroyed her fairy tale without ever raising her voice. And as I walked into the night, heels clicking against the stone path, I realized something. Some revenge doesn't need fireworks. Sometimes all it takes is patience. And power. Quiet, undeniable power. The kind they never saw coming.